It is 1980, and in a quiet place around the world, US intelligence are having a meeting to discuss about a man who has been frauding American citizens and others around the world. A name comes up, John Ackah Blay Miezah from Ghana, but nobody knows who he is. He has defrauded many people out of millions of dollars with just promises. The US intelligence is looking for him, but he can't be found. And it is not only individuals he has tricked. He even managed to scam the government of Ghana itself. How did he do it? He claimed to have hidden fortunes in Swiss banks linked to Ghana wealth, that he held the key to endless riches. This is how it all started. John Ackah Blay Miezah was born in 1941 into a humble Nzema family in Ghana's western region. Life wasn't easy, and John had to work from an early age. He started out by selling kerosene on the street. People needed it for their lamp and stove, and it was one of the few ways to make money at that time. But John was no ordinary boy. John's mind was filled with big dreams. He imagined a life of wealth, luxury and fame, far beyond what anyone around him could imagine. With a sharp mind and natural charms, he quickly learned he could win almost everyone. At age 18, John's big break finally came. He earned a scholarship to study in Philadelphia, USA. Leaving behind a small town, John set off for the land of opportunities. Little did anyone know, the poor boy from Ghana was on his way to becoming one of the greatest scammers the world has ever seen. John Ackah Blay Miezah landed in the United States. This was a fresh start. He was studying at the University of Pennsylvania, one of the most respectable universities in the country. As soon as he arrived on campus, he told his new friends he's an African prince. Back in 1959, many African students were coming to the USA for higher education, and many of them were from wealthy families. So everyone believed him without any question. But John didn't stop there. He also claimed he was working at the Union League of Philadelphia, a private club where only the city's richest and the most powerful went. He told everyone this was where he learned what true wealth and power look like. In the USA, John wanted to live like the rich, no matter what it took. In 1972, he returned back to Ghana, but soon he was back in Philadelphia. This time, he was determined to live in luxury without paying a dime. Immediately he returned to Philadelphia. He checked up into a fancy hotel called Buffy. He walked into the hotel with confidence, introduced himself as Dr. John Ackah Blay Miezah, and claimed he was there as a diplomat from Ghana, with all his expenses covered by the Ghana embassy. For about 4 days, he lived in the hotel like a rich man, eating, drinking, and enjoying everything, like he was really a man of wealth. But soon, the hotel manager began to suspect something was wrong. When they checked, they found out John's story was all lies. He wasn't a diplomat, and he didn't have anyone covering his bills. John was arrested on the spot and later sentenced to 1 year in prison. Life in prison was raw for John Ackah Blay Miezah. The struggles were raw. He thought about giving up on his life of scam when he's out of prison, but then he changed his mind again. He decided, I'm going to do this, but in a smarter way. He began to plan his way out of prison, and even better, he wanted to make some money when he got out. In the cell, John noticed something. In every 2 days, a camp prison chaplain named Reverend James Edward will come and preach to him. John saw it as an opportunity. Maybe he could win the Reverend trust and use it to escape out of prison faster. So he sat down in a day and planned a story that could make it happen. In 1972, this was the year Ghana's president Kwame Nkrumah had passed away. John decided to wave Nkrumah into his plan. The next time Reverend Edward came to see him, John began his story. He spoke in passion. Nkrumah was a great man who only wanted the best for Ghana, even though some people spoke against him. He told the Reverend, when Nkrumah was on his deathbed, he revealed a hidden fortune, $47 billion worth of gold to him, stashed in a Switzerland bank known as Oman Ghana Trust Fund. According to John Ackah Blay Miezah, this money was set aside by Nkrumah to help Ghana in hard times, but he never got to use it because he was overthrown. John leaned in and told Reverend Edward, all I need is a support to fight for this money in the Swiss bank to get it back to Ghana. Anyone who helps will earn 10 times their investment. Imagine you put in $1 and you earn $10 back. The Reverend was hooked. He believed every word, especially because it was well known that Ghana, once called the Gold Coast, was rich in gold. Without Google or any way to check the fact, Reverend Edward was swept up by John's story. Reverend Edward promised to help. He said he would pull some string to get John out of prison so that they could go after the fortune together. Sure enough, the next day, John Ackah Blay Miezah walked out of prison as a free man, ready to start the next chapter of his scheme, and this time with a plan to even make more money. Ackah Blay Miezah's plan was in motion. Now he's walking on the street of Pennsylvania as a free man. His story has completely won over Reverend Edward. Now he totally believes in him. So he introduced him to a contractor named Mr. Robert Alice. Alice also believed Ackah Blay's story, so he invested $40 million into the Oman Ghana Trust Fund, which went straight into Ackah Blay's pocket. Ackah couldn't believe how well his plan was working. Now he had only one goal: to get even more people on board. He got an inspiration from famous Italian scammer Charles Ponzi, who had tricked many Americans years before. With Ponzi's method in mind, Ackah Blay knew what exactly to do next. First, he had to make everything look raw, official and grand. Mr. Alice was so convinced that he brought in some of his friends, other businessmen ready to invest. Each of them put in $20 million, and together they opened up a fancy office in Pennsylvania. They even gave it a fancy name: the Bureau of African Affairs and Industrial Development. It sounded like a real government agency, and everyone believed it was. When they asked for Ackah Blay academic certificates, he didn't blink. He called one of his old friends from college who had multiple degrees. They agreed to forge the certificate, making it look like he had all the qualifications he needed. Now everything looked official. He played the part perfectly. At every meeting, he arrived dressed in fine suits, looking and acting like a rich man. His confidence, smooth words, and polish convinced everyone that he was the real deal. Soon, even more people wanted to invest. Two new businessmen, Walter and Peter, also invested $100 million for a piece of the Oman Ghana Trust Fund. News of this investment opportunity spread fast. People from all walks of life, bankers, teachers, policemen, students were eager to invest into it. They all believed Ackah's story to bring gold from Switzerland to Ghana, so they invested huge to get more interest. To keep their story raw, Ackah Blay Miezah started traveling back and forth between Ghana, USA and Switzerland. Each trip made his story seem more raw, and he didn't travel cheap. Everywhere he go, he brought along his personal chef, eating only the finest meals and living like a king. Ackah Blay was living the high life, and his plan was working even better than he ever imagined. But little did the investors know, the money wasn't going to any bank in Switzerland, it was going straight to his pocket. 2 years passed, and still the money wasn't in. But people kept on investing, and Ackah Blay Miezah's wealth kept growing. He was now worth billions of dollars. Whenever investors asked questions, he confidently said the money is coming, it is even growing bigger. I'm working on it with the banks and my lawyers. People trusted him even more when he brought in Ghanaian ministers and prominent people. It was hard for anyone to doubt his story. But as time goes on, people grew frustrated. Ackah's plan had investors from all over the world, in Asia, Africa, Europe, every corner of the world. In 1977, one worried investor reported him to the UK police whilst he was staying at a hotel in London. But Ackah was quick. He got a tip-off and escaped through a window and rushed back to Ghana. When he returned back to Ghana, the Ghana police finally caught him. But then something surprising happened. Colonel Ignatius Ketu Achampong, Ghana head of state, called him for a meeting. Ghana was in a serious economic crisis, and Achampong was so desperate for a solution. Ackah's promises sounded like they could save the country. Could he really bring the millions Ghana needed? Ackah saw his chances. He told Achampong, "All I need is a diplomatic passport and my freedom. With that, I can bring the money to Ghana." Achampong agreed, hoping Ackah Blay's money will solve the country's problem. Just like that, Ackah walked out of jail as a free man again. He told Ghanaians, "Give me 2 weeks and I'll bring the money back." But 2 weeks turned into 2 months and still no money showed up. The people grew impatient and Ackah Blay was arrested again. But he never stopped insisting that the money was still in the Swiss bank.
When I promise you that after giving me $100,000, I'll give you $1 million, I will never disown it.
In the end, Ackah Blay Miezah died under house arrest. But even after his death, people still believe in his found. Many thought the money was hidden somewhere, waiting to be claimed. This is the story of John Ackah Blay Miezah, the man who fooled everyone and made people believe in fortune that was never raw. If you enjoyed this story, check out the mystery story here of Kwame Despite.